Welcome to ohmTown. I'm Mayor Watt. Let me do something real quick here. Got to move a couple of things around. Then I'll throw this up. Hello. Hey. Hi. I'm Mayor Watt. I'm the mayor of ohmTown. I'm the host of the ohmTown News Show, and I run the website, ohmTown.com. And thanks for stopping by. If you have any questions or comments, of course, you can throw them onto the chat, but you can also, if you are interested, let me know that you'd like to be on the air, and I'll throw you up above the chat right there in a video stream, and we can chat about whatever it is that you want to talk about. It doesn't even have to be the news that's on ohmTown. But for reference, at the beginning of each of the shows, I kind of give a quick rundown. I've only been doing this for 14 days as a steady thing. I've streamed in the past, but I'm doing it every single day for about an hour. I actually have to stop at 7 because I've got a meeting shortly thereafter. But I didn't want to miss a day to chat. So the way that it works, like I do at the beginning of most of my shows, if not all of them, quick rundown. ohmTown is a news aggregation site with a twist, sort of. The news that I aggregate is limited. At its peak, it was aggregating about 200 news sources in various categories. Beyond this, at the top of the page, there are 6 categories: create, news, education, entertainment, social, and technology. My, I hate to say field of expertise, crosses 3 different paths primarily: business, technology, and society. That's what I consult on. That's what I advise on. That's what I talk to people about. And my interests are pretty expansive in terms of what falls in each one of these categories. And I showed this site before it went public to a few people, and they thought that it was interesting, and not as expansive as some others. Now, these may change in time, and the sources that feed into it will change, expand. Other ones will drop off if the veracity, if the value of the site doesn't meet what I think should be expected of news providers. I could remove it. But the shows, these here, are also groups on ohmTown. So every time you click the front page, you click the home page right there on ohmTown, all of this news gets updated. And it's attributed to some category within ohmTown, some group. So the continuity report, or the word in tech, or mobile. All of these are groups where the news is fed into. So under create is Aerith, Bead Baby, et cetera, all the way down. In news, same thing. Education, same thing. You can subscribe to one or more of the groups. You're automatically subscribed to all of them when you become a citizen of ohmTown. All you have to do is click sign up. Bippity boppity boop. You've got a bunch of groups and a bunch of news on your front page. And I hope you dig it. So go over to ohmTown.com and sign up. But of course, stay with me here in Twitch. And this is a little piece. The idea behind ohmTown is a virtual existence in the lines of data transmission, a little bit of resistance, something that a tech is trying to investigate, but never quite finds us. But we are a pocket of information, gathering all of this news and interacting both on Twitch and on ohmTown.com and on Discord and on Twitter. I'm not on LinkedIn, or I'm not on Insta, and I'm not on TikTok. But I prefer this real-time interaction through Twitch, and I hope you do too. So feel free to ask questions, and I try not to get too into the weeds about things. But that's really because the way that my brain works is I practice associative thinking, and sometimes we can end up talking about turnips in Afghanistan instead of the initial headline, like viral WTF crypto coin launch immediately devolves into chaos and pain. Sure, we'll have to click that. Yeah, might as well. Let's just click that. So that's this. So it's a good example of what goes on. You click the headline, it takes you to the group. This particular group is called Mobble. It was an app in development called the Mobile Mob, or Mobble. And the organization that was going to purchase it balked on price and requirements for the contract. So I still retain Mobble. I've owned it since my initial idea for it, and never continued on. But I love the name Mobble. So if you are interested, then go over and sign up for ohmTown, and then you can read all of this news too. But here's how it works, down to the nitty gritty. You click a headline, takes you to the group, takes you to that particular discussion, of which there are many more underneath this. So you read this little snippet, you go over to the source. There's always going to be a link that says visit the source. It'll open up another page, and then you can go through and read the rest of it. So if you haven't been in the loop about crypto, there are so many cryptocurrencies out there now. Ethereum and Bitcoin are two of the most well adopted and understood. But you can pretty much just start up a cryptocurrency and hope that people will adopt it. And when people adopt it, the valuation goes up. And the more that it's adopted, that perceived value gives it more and more value. And you end up with something like Bitcoin or Ethereum. And make no bones about it, the way that crypto works, it's a great idea in concept. It's a great idea to a point in implementation, but it's really difficult to buy a piece of gum with crypto, because when the real world dollar, or whatever currency you are translating into from crypto into terrestrial monies, like in the US, it would be a US dollar. You would translate your crypto into that dollar. It may be worth $50,000, but that piece of gum you're trying to buy, or pack of gum, is only worth 50 cents. So you have to sit there and translate that down into what the amount of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin or Ethereum, it is to pay for that item. And that is such an abstract number for the everyday Joe that it's going to be really hard for crypto to be adopted by someone like me, right? If I call myself the common man, the common person, utilizing crypto is going to be just exponentially more difficult, because it's hard to conceive of how much it's going to cost in cryptocurrency, because you have to move the decimal. How much, a cheeseburger is going to cost. And to give you an example of that, back in the past with Bitcoin, people purchased pizzas with Bitcoin, and now that Bitcoin is worth $50,000 a coin, nobody's buying pizza with Bitcoin. They're buying other things. They may be buying Bitcoin, but it's really people who understand crypto. I started out with crypto when it was, pennies for a coin, and not $50,000 or more. And I just didn't see it. You would have to have really just kind of mined and then stored whatever you mined in a wallet. And people have done that. And it was just hit or miss that, crypto was going to be something. obviously, as more people take it on, it gained value. So kudos to those who stuck to it. But all it takes is a nation to say that crypto is not going to be accepted as currency, and it becomes a black market currency where you can't even pull it from crypto to real world dollars. You know, even China has said that crypto isn't legal anymore, unless that has changed and I missed it. But go and check out this Vice article, and then come back and chat with me about what you know, what you have learned. And maybe you can help other people understand it from your perspective. Bots, volatility, and a referral system decried as Ponzi marred the viral launch of a token called WTF. Well, we know what WTF really means, but I tend not to read the entire article on the air. It's really not I'm not interested in doing that, because I want you to go over to Vice and read it, understand the context of that writing, and come back and talk with me. Because I can say things about the article, but you're not going to get the totality of understanding. Suffice it to say, you know, this new cryptocurrency, and every iteration of a cryptocurrency that comes after Bitcoin and Ethereum is a little bit different than your understanding of Bitcoin and Ethereum. There have been some that say that the cryptocurrency is based on mining for space, not in processor power. Others are one thing or another. I mean, it just really runs a broad spectrum of why it even exists. But I feel that anything after Bitcoin and Ethereum, unless there's something special about usability and adoption, it's basically a money grab. Because if the people who create a follow-on to one cryptocurrency, they start it up, they reserve, just like Satoshi Nakamoto kept a large portion of cryptocurrency in Bitcoin, that money is worth billions of dollars. So as long as it stays adopted, that person is, you know, filthy rich. But they're going to have to convert it from crypto to real world dollars. And that is where the value really comes from. Anybody who's speculating on what the value of cryptocurrency is speculating on it maintaining a higher rate than what they acquired it at. Because Bitcoin by itself is worth only what people are willing to accept it as when you trade it for some other good or service. Know what I'm saying? So if I take $500 and go over and say, hey, I'll trade you my $500 for your $500, I'm going to get a straight trade of $500. But Bitcoin, without the understanding that you have the ability to translate it into real cash, US dollars, or some other domestic currency, a Bitcoin is only worth what somebody perceives it to be worth. That is not the same as a dollar or your country's currency if you're from another country. At that point, without that grounded terrestrial security sitting there, a Bitcoin is only worth the cheeseburger that somebody is willing to accept, right? So, hey, I'll give you my cheeseburger, but I can't take your Bitcoin and turn it into something because the US has decided that they're not going to allow Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies to be translated into US dollars. And then it becomes basically a black market currency. So I don't know if that'll ever happen, but my risk aversion for that had me bowing out of cryptocurrency early in the development of it, the market development of Bitcoin. But definitely go over, and then you can come on back and click the link. And vote it up or vote it down. I'm not logged in, and I don't allow the ads to be counted. I'm the owner of the site, and so it's actually in violation of the Google platform for me to display ads on my own site. So at any rate, that's what this is all about. So go and check it out. Yeah, it's a cryptocurrency, and some chaos happens, and it usually does with a cryptocurrency, until it stabilizes for a little while, and then there's machinations at play here. Something is going on all the time. So we all know that Betty White passed away. America's golden girl. Everybody seemed to love Betty White. The internet definitely thought of her as a beacon of good and good-naturedness. And if you want to know more about her, there's going to be a January 31st, 10 p.m. special on Peacock. On NBC, actually, and then the next day on Peacock. But I had heard that and watched a little snippet about her dedication to her husband, and she had a really short marriage. I can't say that, double the average marriage, but only 13 years. And as far as I know, she stayed in the house that they built together, and her last words were her husband's name. So it was refreshing to hear somebody so grounded and funny. So you can always come and take a look at this link. Click on the visit the source. Again, I will always drive you over to that site. I want you to read the full article, not that little snippet that I put together. And you can always, once you log in, you can post messages to this. You can make comments on this, and you can vote up and vote down. But my aggregator pulls in things. It's posted anonymously because nobody is getting credit for it. But if you make posts, if you vote things up, when you log in, when you make friends, you get credit. So the site is gamified, and you get credits. They're called ohm, but it's basically dollars. A virtual currency within ohmTown, and now there's no store yet, but one is planned. And based on engagement, you can acquire things. And I'm not quite sure when that will kick off. It really matters on engagement and true engagement. Bots and such will not get rewarded. And so I'll be watching for that kind of stuff. And if you become a host, then you will gain control as a moderator of something like the Continuity Report. If you're really interested in movies and you want to talk with me and the rest of the audience on Twitch for an hour each week, I am looking for hosts that would be interested in talking shop about the various topics. And this is just one of them, the Continuity Report, which is a show about movies. And each of these shows would be turned into podcasts as well, with the goal to get to 50 shows a week. And when not streaming a live show, it will repeat periodically around the week. Right. So 50 hours, and I can't do them all. I thought I'd be able to, but 100-hour work weeks are not my bag anymore. So hopefully, if you are interested, you can just reach out to me, and maybe we can set you up with something. And there's the specifics of it we can talk about, but essentially you'll be compensated both for the show and then residuals for the show's viewership afterward. Okay, so that's continuity reports submission. This one, it's just one, but the continuity report gets a ton of news injected into it. So if I click on discussions right now, you'll see all of the articles that are thrown into it. So there's at least 629 more pages. I'd have to do a database sweep to see what is fully in there, but there's a ton. And this link is up here, is another link. Let me close this window. Breaking Prose is another group. I'm really into short stories. I like them, but I am not fanatical about them. So you don't ask me about writers or my favorite short stories. But I'm more into science fiction and fantasy. When I'm not reading a textbook or something having to do with business research or some technical paper, I'm interested in short stories because I like that they're much more succinct than long form writing, novels and such, and they have all the elements of a long story, except that it's accelerated. And then from there, short stories get turned into novels. So this little article here, it's a snippet of what they provide. And then if you go to prowritingaid.com, they go into greater detail, but they'll talk about fantasy characters and the 4 common traits and ideas on creating them. If you are an aspiring writer, I urge you to go over to ohmTown or go straight to prowritingaid.com and get to know all of these elements of writing. Nobody knows everything, and we don't know what we don't know. So having a source that provides the information, I'll even click on the link, but I won't go through it. You can read for yourself how to create and write fantasy characters. And that's one of the things that I am interested in, because it goes beyond just this group. Aerith is a storybook world where everybody who is interested in it, I've got certain tools that allow me to create entire worlds within a universe. And it's all tied together within a storybook world called Aerith. More to that as Aerith develops, the content for it develops, and my ability to go into greater depth about it without boring the heck out of everybody who might be watching a VOD. Again, come on back to ohmTown and vote it up or vote it down, make a comment. So this next thing is another continuity report article. It's from Variety, and it involves Alec Baldwin. If you have never heard of what went on with Alec Baldwin, first, I don't know how. I mean, there's been so much hype about it, but essentially Alec Baldwin used what he thought was a prop, but turned out to carry a live round, and somebody was shot through the lens of their camera that they were pointing at the person. As far as I know, that's what occurred. And after a search warrant was granted, his phone has been seized. And I can't, for the life of me, if you would think that it was an accident, this wouldn't be investigated. It would just be an accident. So I'm gonna open up this thing. So Alec Baldwin turned over his phone to authorities on Friday as part of the investigation into the fatal shooting on the set of Rust. And so it's been a month after investigators obtained the search warrant. And this has been going on for a while. And I find it odd, unless there's backstory, which, again, I don't read the entire article live here. I urge you to go and do it, and then come back and talk shop with me via chat, or again, up there above me, above the chat, I got that little space carved out. And while it's possibly going to be used for something else, if somebody wants to come onto the air and chat with me live, I will throw another chat box up there, a video box, and you can come on and chat in real time. And if you want to co-host, we'll do that too. But grabbing somebody's phone, seizing somebody's phone, grabbing somebody's phone during an investigation, I don't think it always happens. I mean, so one of my areas of experience is forensics, digital forensics, mind you, not police biological forensics. But I am a person that would be hired to go, or if I'm within your enterprise as a consultant, I would go and grab computers and extract all of the information so that I can do an investigation internally as to what was going on with that computer. It becomes a different matter if it's a criminal investigation. Then it involves police and they have their own investigators. But for civil investigation, it's not a matter of criminality. So you do research into what somebody internally to a business might be a bad actor, right? Well, we might end up contacting either a DA or police to pursue a criminal investigation should evidence show that there's a need to. And that's when something like a search warrant would be obtained to grab a phone. But we wouldn't do it, right? Like the company wouldn't get access to it. It would be investigated by the police. Pardon me again. Got a scratchy throat. It's very dry in my office and I don't have my drink. I have no drinks. Stay hydrated, folks. Well, anyway, them getting his phone might be, if you go and read the article, it could be because somebody hinted at him saying something or doing something, and hence they want to investigate that phone. But things like text messages and emails and stuff like that on a decedent's devices would be open to access pretty much by the estate or by the court unlocking it. So we'll probably see more about this as time goes on, but it's interesting that quite some time has gone by and they're just now getting to a phone. I don't really get into too much politics. I think lately in my shows, I've spoken more about it as time has gone on. But this was an interesting article because every single House Republican who voted to impeach Trump is basically being threatened by, and by threatened, I mean the position is being pursued by a Trump-aligned Republican. And 3 out of the 10 have already announced that they're not going to go up for re-election. And all of this is predicated on the idea that you aren't showing fealty to the most prominent Republican, Trump. I find it fascinating. Because you're not supposed to. You're supposed to be representative of the people who elected you, not representative of a single person within the institution of Republican belief. But apparently I'm naive. But then again, I'm also not fanatical about anything. I like a good football game, but I'm not fanatical about a team. I like watching a good baseball game, but I'm not fanatical about a team. You won't catch me waving a banner around of anything, because I'm just not like that. I think it's entertainment, and I don't have any identity aligned with it. So I just don't do it. I guess I'm just moderate centrist. Yeah, I don't know. So this will be a good article if you are interested in seeing what is going on with the 10 House Republicans who voted to impeach Trump. And that's at thehill.com. So go and check it out. Warcrafters is a group that's all about first-person shooters, real-time simulators, role-playing games, computer-wise. And I used to play Icarus. Icarus is a fun game. Open world. Basically, you drop down on a planet and you have to do certain things, and then you go back up. And then you're given another mission, and you go back down. You do X, Y, and Z, and you go back up. And it is brutal. Brutal, and unforgiving. So you die. But it's a fun game. The world is fun to interact with. I liken it to, I can't really liken it to anything because it is its own unique thing. And open world games are something that I'm just really interested in because I like to just hang out and build stuff, and I like base building open world games, and not necessarily really grindy games. I like having something. It's kind of like real life. I like having something at the end of the day to actually show for my activities. And in grindy games, you just kind of grind to get to that next spot. Whereas builder games, you build something that you can walk into and out of. I don't know how to describe it, but I like a lot of games, but base builder games are really fun for me. Valheim, for one, is really fun. But Icarus is you landing on this planet and you try to survive. And some people do really well at it, but I seem to have really bad luck and I just die a lot. Maybe it's my old guy reaction time, but it's fun to play. So go and check it out. It's on Steam. You will not miss the time that you spend playing Icarus. And I hope you go and check it out. This little article is from PC Gamer. So if you go over to ohmTown and you click on this link, Icarus softens its stance on permadeath with mission insurance. Then click the link and visit the source. Every time I see this larger bit of the article, I keep forgetting that I need to chop it. So it should be much shorter. I don't want people getting all of the article. I really want you to go and check out the site and then come on back and talk about it. It's what I'm building is a different community, smaller, at least, as far as I'm concerned, smaller, but with enough people who want to have a nice chat and not screaming bloody murder that everybody is an idiot because you don't believe what they believe, or you don't like Icarus versus I like Icarus, or Mac sucks versus PC. It just is you need to be, or I should say, I am hoping that the audience and the community that forms around ohmTown are calmer. But like I said in one of my previous shows, I've had friends run for public office where it's unpaid and they received death threats. So more than one now. And I've always found that odd. So go and check out Icarus. Then come back and talk. A couple of days ago, I read an article, and we've talked about it, or I've talked about it previously on ohmTown News about Wordle. And apparently it revived a dead App Store game with the same name. And there is still a massive following. I mean, it's still viral, this Wordle game, which basically it's a 5x5 grid, and you have to figure out what the word is, kind of like Hangman, except that it doesn't give you any hints. It's all you do is you try and, well, I mean, Hangman doesn't give you any hints anyway, but anyway, it just gives you a grid of 5x5, and you put in a 5-letter word, hopefully. And it tells you if any of the letters are in the right spot or if it's in the word at all, and they color code it. So if it's the right letter in the right spot, it's green. If it's the right letter but in the wrong spot, it's yellow. And there's no color if it's the wrong word or wrong letter. And again, you have 5 tries to get it right. This person says that they've not worked on the development or marketing of Wordle in over 5 years. Yesterday, Wordle was the 14th most popular free game on the App Store. Its rise to number 5 happened in a single day. Interesting. People were yearning for a new game. And so in a flash, it went to something amazing. Really fascinating. Sorry, I was reading some of it. Sorry for being silent. If you are interested in some article and you find it on ohmTown while I'm streaming, and you want to throw it into chat, I'm happy to display it up here on the main page, and we can chat about it. I have a surprising amount of white space, but that's almost a lot of it is intentional, and this here is where an ad would be, over in that far right corner. There should be an ad there, but like I said, I don't display it. If you've never checked out Wordle, go and check it out. And this article is from vice.com. So this article is Smack Talk. This group is Smack Talk, and obviously it's all about Mac. Hence the reason why MAC is capitalized in Smack, and that's where you get to talk smack about Apple and its competitors and whatever else, but it needs to be good natured and not hostile. But rumors claim next iPad Pro will have a glass Apple logo for MagSafe, which would be awesome as long as it charges fast. I'm good to go with that, and I'll probably end up upgrading when that happens, because I'm not a big fan of cables. I don't like cables providing my internet access. I don't like cables providing charge. I don't like cables for HDMI. I just don't like cables. I actually sold my VR gear because I got tired of the cables, and the setup that I used had an umbilical hanging from the ceiling above me, and I just got burnt out with having this huge umbilical dangling from my ceiling. So I'm hoping that the next PC VR is wireless, but there is wireless HDMI, which that is my next thing to investigate. I think that I would like to take all of my cables and throw them away for wireless HDMI. And I think Linus Tech Tips did a thing, a show on wireless HDMI, but don't hold me to that. I'm not sure anymore. It's been a while. Anyway, this article is over on appleinsider.com. If you go to ohmTown and you click on the links at the top, right? So there are groups, and if you click the group, it'll take you to a news summary of some of the articles, only about 25 of them. But if you click the drop down, it'll take you to the discussion boards for Smack Talk or whatever it is, right? It's the group forum. One of those articles will be rumors claim next iPad Pro will have a glass Apple logo for MagSafe. If you click that link, it'll take you over to Apple Insider, and then you can read it all for yourself. I'm not going to read it all because I am one of those people that can extrapolate from incomplete data. But I cannot wait for a wireless world. Disney actually is one of the researchers in the field of wireless power transmission. They actually had a room set up that had the ability to transmit, I think it was 5 volts to any device that had a receiving station on it. Let me see. Oh, you're gonna see. Let me see if I can show you something that's really cool. Hold on. Here we go. So it's weird that I just did that, but whatever. So I've got this gadget here. Let me open it. Hold on, it's going to be loud. I've got this gadget, and they're relatively expensive for what they are, but all it is a copper coil, and I can make these right here, and you can make them too. All you have to do is look up how, but this one is one that's mass produced, and all it is a copper coil, and you feed it some voltage and it creates a magnetic field, right? Well, and this is what would be referred to as a transmitter of an electromagnetic field. And then what you do, let me throw that down on the floor. Then what you do is you get these little things called receivers. And I'm not sure if my camera will focus well on this, but I'll be sticking my hands up real close. That's all it is. Tiny little thing, right? Got a copper coil, has a light. When you put this near that, the light will light up. And you can be a substantial amount of distance away from that copper coil. And if you put multiples of them, you can build a bigger and bigger space that is powered, that wherein that space, these lights will turn on, as long as the lights are in the right angle to the field. So if the coil is flat, the lights need to be flat to be max brightness. If you turn it a little bit, then it'll dim. And if you have another coil that's horizontal, then you can turn the light at a 90-degree angle and it'll light up. So it's really neat technology. I use them for a project of mine. But that's neither here nor there. That's really cool tech. It's just an example of being wireless, because I can embed that in anything, as long as the magnetic field can go through it. So typically wood. Pretty neat, right? They're fairly expensive. And I've not found a producer of those in the United States. Those come from China. So yeah, I'm not sure about quality control and stuff like that. We have all kinds of rules and regulations regarding electrical power and devices and stuff like that. So yeah, anyway. So hopefully we'll get an iPad Pro with MagSafe support. I mean, iPhones have MagSafe on the back. Just roll that technology into the next edition. So I didn't even click this link. I opened it up into my browser so that I could click it here. And I haven't even read a single thing about it other than the title, which is the best case for those who prefer naked iPhones. Having a naked iPhone is dangerous. Yeah, I use OtterBox, and it's because you could drop that thing from orbit and it won't break. At least I've yet to drop mine from anything higher than maybe 4 inches, 5 inches. But you need to protect it, right? Well, some people do not want. It makes it bulky. It makes it heavier. You don't get to see the pretty color of your phone, and they want a naked phone. So it says barely covering the top and bottom of your phone. The Arc Pulse is as minimalist as they come, while still offering protection. So let's see what this thing looks like. It's at Apple Insider. Go and check it out. Andrew O'Hara. And that right there is what it looks like. Man, that is that is pretty minimalist. The thing that's always caught me off guard is the big old lenses sticking out. And you kind of have to do that, right? If you want a thin device, but you still want glass lenses and not just digital simulation of zooming and a fixed focus, you have to have real glass in there. And hence you have these little stubby things sticking out of the case. And this case makes it, this Arc Pulse actually makes it really kind of neat looking and high tech. So it's very futuristic. And I wonder if it's adhesive that sticks it to the case. But I don't know if it's going to talk about it. I'm sure they do. Is it enough protection? Yeah. I mean, most of the time when I have dropped a device, it lands on its edge, like right there on the corners, and that shock travels through and breaks the glass, and man, it's just horrible. And unless you drop this phone on something that is uneven, rocks or whatever, you're not going to scratch the case, because this will the top and bottom bits and the thing that surrounds the optics will protect the device. So I think that's really fascinating. Doesn't seem to have a good rating on Apple Insider, but I think it's neat and futuristic. I'd probably give it a try if they sent me a free one, but I like my OtterBox whole body protection. They need to make a giant bubble so that I don't get COVID. Anyway, let me close that. That's the ultimate in protection, right? An OtterBox for a human, so that they can still travel wherever they need to be, but they are protected from everything. So that's the article on Smack Talk. And this is another continuity report. A group submission there. It's from variety.com, and it says that Netflix hikes prices in US, Canada for all subscription plans to $15.49. And I thought that they had already done this. But this article is January 14th. I thought 2022, but I thought that they had already done that. But I think, yeah. So the premium plan offering 4K Ultra HD content is going up by $2 from $17.99 to $19.99 for US customers. And this has been happening. Like the prices have increased, but apparently Netflix is going to miss their subscription numbers, and furthermore, apparently some people are saying you got to stop talking about those subscription numbers because it's hurting the stock price, the business valuation. But I will continue to say that abuse happens in the dark, and you want transparency. You want people to know that everything is legitimate, and even the perspective, even the optics of being opaque with customers and with investors is going to lead to trouble. Obviously, when there's so much money flying around, somebody may not care, but when you obscure what's really happening, somebody will always find out the truth, and eventually you'll pay the price. So prices will continue to hike up, and without a doubt, it's because people want more money when the perception of greater value is there, and they think that they can extract more money. They'll raise the prices. How many of you are going to leave Netflix? How many people are going to leave Netflix? You know, I subscribe to so many things now that I could probably leave them all, except for one, and I would probably not miss any of it. But how many people are really in that same situation where they don't need? But again, I have to just remind everybody who watches this at some point, if they do, that I'm not a fanatic about anything. So Netflix raising the prices, all it does is lead me towards that bulk rate where it's too much money, it's not enough benefit, I'm not interested, I'm going to cancel my subscription and turn around and go the other way. But that's not going to stop the prices from increasing, because at some point it's going to invert, where instead of there's so much value, we can afford to raise the prices because you're getting so much and we're spending so much to get you that benefit that we have to keep our margins. And arguably the big investors want to make sure that their profits are higher than inflation. And when inflation is 7% and your profits are 5%, the investors are losing money, plain and simple. They have to stay ahead of the inflation rate. They have to meet their internal return on investment. They need what they need, and so the prices increase. And you know, if 10% drop out, they're still making so much more money because 10% drop out. I mean, it's kind of basic supply and demand and business strategy and tactics. It's basic business stuff. The complexity comes with how many investors own how much, and it translates into how much voice they have. Almost like politics. But let's not get into politics again. So I would expect prices to continue to increase for all services. Hulu will do it. Apple TV might do it. Scratchy throat. No, it's not COVID. It's just dry air. And me talking without a drink. Oh, gosh. I'm just going to be 20 pounds lighter, which actually might be good for me. So expect prices to continue to climb. I would say every year a little bit, every other year another one. It's going to be this ebb and flow kind of process. Just get used to it. It's going to continue. What you have to do as a consumer is either drop it, like drop the service, save up and come back. I mean, it's $2 if you save up, $20, you can pay for a year. Sort of. Anyway. And I think for the last thing that I'm going to talk about in today's show is this. We're going to leave with a doozy. A judge on Thursday, the article comes from thehill.com. Its title is Judge Finds No Probable Cause in Case of Mom Accused of Putting Son in Car's Trunk to Avoid COVID-19 Exposure. So I'm going to click the link. So the little snippet, again, I encourage you to, if you go to ohmTown and you become a citizen of ohmTown and you find this article, I encourage you to click the link, read the article, come on back and talk shop. But a judge on Thursday ruled there's no probable cause in the case of a Texas woman charged with child endangerment for allegedly placing her COVID-19 positive child in a car trunk to avoid being exposed to the virus. The judge left the door open, however, for prosecutors to continue investigating Sarah Beam, a 41-year-old teacher, the Cypress Fairbanks Independent School District near Houston, according to local news outlet KHOU 11. She may face charges in connection with the incident in the future. Excuse me. Prosecutors had charged Beam with child endangerment after allegedly putting her 13-year-old son in the trunk of her car at a COVID-19 testing site in Harris County. Ah, God. Joking around, maybe. Officials first became aware of the incident after a noise coming from the trunk was heard by a witness, and the trunk was later unlatched by the Texas teacher to reveal her son inside. Okay, so I think at some point in our life, we've all said, how would you get out of a trunk and climbed into a trunk, right? Like, I've actually done it when I was younger. I wanted to see how you can get out of a trunk. You never know when your friends might abduct you. How do you get out of a trunk? But never would I think, what I want to do with my 13-year-old son who's COVID-19 positive? Throw him in my trunk so that I can avoid exposure. Why would I do that? Because I'm going to be taking my 13-year-old son home and I have to take care of my 13-year-old COVID-19 positive son because I'm his parent. For crying out loud. Now, I don't think that you should throw the book at this person, but maybe there needs to be parenting classes kind of pushed. Seriously, like throwing somebody in jail for doing this would probably do more harm than good because the son needs the parental support. But maybe finding out if this person is sociopathic or might be harming the kid in some other way, and find out if they are taking care of their son. But them being 13, they obviously survived long enough, but my God, it's COVID-19. Maybe she isn't vaccinated, and if you're not vaccinated, then you might get COVID. to the point where it can kill you, versus if you're vaccinated, you can get it and you have a bad cold, versus, you know, possible death. But anyway, I figured that this would be an interesting one to end with. A 41-year-old teacher with a 13-year-old son, and the first idea to avoid getting COVID is to throw him in the trunk. Well, what are you going to do when you get home? Okay, son, I'm going to cook food for you, but I'm going to slide the noodles underneath the door. And you are going to be in the basement. And after you're done with COVID, again, we don't know what's going to happen because they tested positive. You don't know what the result of this infection is going to be, because you can feel fine, but then it just comes on like a wrecking ball, right? Hannah Montana is going to roll through, and this kid's going to be really sick because of coming in like a wrecking ball. Anyway, I'm sorry, I digress. But yeah, I would be concerned about giving this child back to a mom who thinks throwing their kid in the trunk is going to be a good thing. And I wonder, you know, I didn't pursue any other articles on this, but I hear in my head a voice telling me, well, they only lived 5 minutes away, so everything's cool, right? Well, the kid doesn't have a seatbelt. He's not secure in any way in the trunk. Fumes enter the trunk. That's why it tends to be compartmentalized away from the rest of the car. It depends on what this car was. I didn't look. I don't recall seeing what the model of the car was. I mean, if it's like an SUV or something like that, that's almost entirely different. But it's like you wouldn't even put your dog in the trunk. It's really bizarre to put your kid. It would not be my first thought if my kid is COVID-19 positive. It would be, oh my God, my kid is not COVID-19 positive. I should have gotten my vaccines. Maybe they did. Who knows? I probably need more information before going any deeper into the commentary about that one. But I hope you find this show interesting. Again, I don't go really deep into anything. I really do encourage you to find something interesting on Mobile, and then come and chat on ohmTown here on Twitch. Obviously, always go over to the news source. That's where you're going to get the full story instead of just the little snippet that you're seeing right now. And just a reminder, every time you click on ohmTown, odds on, you will get new information because the ingestion process is happening 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Unless something technical happens with the site, there will always be new things being posted. Supreme Court to hear case of coach who lost his job over post-game prayers. Yeah. Russia, COVID tests, the Oscars, your Friday evening briefing. That's a headline that leads to more headlines. And you can always go over to ohmTown and click the link that takes you over to the parent site, the one that actually produced that little snippet. Man arrested in shooting of 19-year-old worker at East Harlem Burger King. There was a recent robbery of a Burger King near me. Strange days, let me tell you. Oh, and that's a good movie, by the way. I really liked it. Strange Days. You can't seem to buy it though on like Apple or anywhere else. You have to buy the DVD. You have to buy the DVD for the Three Amigos, or just Three Amigos. I think it's just called Three Amigos, not the Three Amigos. Anyway, you have to rent it on iTunes. You can't buy it. And as I tell everybody, I hear my father-in-law screaming, yes, we know, Mayor Watt. Physical media is dead. Yeah, physical media is dead. I don't own any CDs. In fact, I had to buy, hold on a second. If it seems strange that I have a lot of stuff just sitting on hand as an example of something that I'm talking about, it's because I'm actually rearranging my office and finishing the build out as a studio for all of this that you see behind me. There's a whole lot more around me. But I had to go out and buy a CD burner because I needed to burn a CD. Yeah, they still make these. They don't make floppy disks anymore, but they make CD burners and CDs to burn. But I have not done that in probably 15, 20 years, something like that. I know for a fact I haven't burned a CD in at least 12 years. At least 12 years. But there are things that happen in life where you kind of go, okay, this is a demarcation of something in your life. And I had a kid 12 years ago, so 11 years ago. So at any rate, I think we're going to call it a night. If you have any comments, complaints, you know of a friend that you want to phone and say, come over to ohmTown on Twitch and follow. That would be awesome. Tell a friend. Come and talk shop. I have no problem, arguing my side or even being the devil's advocate. You have a position. I could probably take an alternate position because I see it from multiple sides. I have a particular path for my side, but for argumentation's sake, I'm capable of picking an alternate perspective of why somebody might want to think that way versus your way. Would happily talk with you. Somebody might say, oh my God, man arrested in shooting of 19-year-old worker at East Harlem Burger King. Well, I've upset people because I say, when you have no other options, the only option for survival is to commit a crime because there is no opportunity. And unfortunately, someone was hurt in the process. But where is really the problem altogether in a holistic sense, right? We know the end result of myriad life choices has led to somebody being shot. But what is the reason why they got to that point? And you can say, well, I don't care. Or you can try and understand the full picture, the holistic understanding of the situation. Situational awareness can be more than just you and your immediate surroundings. It can be a holistic understanding of societal's machinations as to why a person ended up getting shot at an East Harlem Burger King. And I can tell you, without digging deeper, two main things: education and opportunity. And one breeds the other. And you need the other to pursue the other. So if you don't have an opportunity to make money, you can't pay for school unless you go very deep into debt. And we have stories all over the place about the cost of education and debt forgiveness and issues with predatory lending in academia. They're all over the news. But if you can't get a job, so no opportunity to develop your education in an academically sound way, like you can become street smart, but that's not going to land you a job necessarily. There are jobs out there, but if you can't relate to people in a way that makes you a team player, then nobody's going to hire you. If you lack communication skills, social skills, nobody's going to hire you. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why somebody would get to the point where they're going to shoot someone for some reason. And if I click this link, I'll end up going down the rabbit hole. So we'll save it. It's already 7-Eleven and I'm running behind. So thanks for coming. We'll end up talking about something like this tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern. Again, I'll talk for an hour. I might end up playing a game. There's a game on Twitch on Twitch. There's a game on Steam that I want to play called Strange Horticulture. I want to check it out, but I may not do it on the air. But what I will tell you is that I'll be here from 6 to 7 tomorrow and every day after that, as long as I can. Sound good? I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for stopping by ohmTown. I'm Mayor Watt, and I've been chatting about the news.